Yes.
So, how do you make up for a bad night out of the town?
I don't know. How do you make up for a bad night out on the town?
Well, the next night you advertise that you're going to bring someone back that everyone loves. But we don't love this particular person that came back. So, how do you top someone that we were supposed to love but don't coming back on the next night? So you're striking out 2 for 2 here. How do you not strike out 3 times in a row?
Some kind of anti-personal.
You start the show. Hello everyone, and welcome to episode number 123 of Woo Get Serious. Hey, I can count to 3, why can't Gavin? But that's besides the point here. My name is Gunnar, that is Omega PR.
I always talk.
And like an Australian in Walmart, we're going to steal the show. So here comes some news. Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton are being locally advertised for Battleground. Cena versus Lesnar, Wyatt versus Jericho, Reigns versus Orton or Triple H, and Brie Bella versus Stephanie McMahon are rumored to be the established matches for SummerSlam. Money in the Bank was a sellout at the arena, but apparently one of the hot topics on Google Sunday was how to cancel the WWE Network subscriptions after fans experienced problems with the live stream. If Daniel Bryan needs another surgery, as he hinted at the pre-show, he could be out for another 6 months to a year. And Orton needed 12 staples to close a gash in his head, and it aggravated his arm. So the injury bug is floating around the WWE right now. We could be out Daniel Bryan for another year, and, well, there's a huge vacuum of space just waiting to be gobbled up by a certain someone whose contract is expiring. What do you guys think?
I think they're doing an okay job of... See, this is kind of weird, because we always talk about how in WrestleMania season they're sort of... kind of committed to their plan, and they have a long time to sort of reach it there. Not that they kind of skip out on bigger events like Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, but this kind of weird kind of summertime lull they have, kind of between Money in the Bank and SummerSlam, with Battleground wedged in the middle. And Battleground, isn't like a special pay-per-view, it's just there. So they're dedicated to their SummerSlam plan, obviously, but then they have to fill the gap. And, based on Raw the other night, I think they're doing okay, particularly plus the fact that, they've had injuries and this and that. But, those sound like decent matches up top. It kind of depends on, a lot of times we say, they kind of have a one-show moment. They're thinking like SummerSlam is this Monday, not in, 6 or 7 weeks. And they still have to fill those 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah, it's just weird that we just lose all of our momentum when it comes to the summer. I mean, we spent all winter, penting up our frustration and just bottling everything up, letting it go at WrestleMania, and then cooling everything down because of why? See, that's what I didn't understand with this whole, Daniel Bryan feuding with Kane first thing. Well, I understand that you want to push some time away from, the major TV series ending and whatnot, and all of your winter sports wrapping up, including NHL, NBA, and other stuff like that. What I don't understand is why WWE wouldn't push Strong the whole year. I mean, this is exactly why, we complain about how the Raw after WrestleMania is so special, but now it's not. But now Raws are just Raws, and they're not that special to anyone else. But unless they make them special, like last night. Last night was special because we had 2 re-debuts. We had 2 returns, a title change, and an announcement about another title change that will be happening at the pay-per-view. Which, by the way, holy fucking shit, Wade Barrett gets fucked in the ass again. You kidding me, bro? Are you serious?
Very rough stuff for guys like Bryan and Barrett and even Cesaro had a scare, which we'll mention later on here.
The matches they got coming up are okay, but they need to push people other than Cena. But people are complaining about that, and we'll talk about that in the 15-minute time limit. And Matt Morgan hit it on the nail, and I'll leave you with that. So.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Matt Morgan, let's talk about TNA for just a moment, too, shall. It seems that Thursday's New York City Impact taping was a legitimate sell-out on one of these Spike CEP executive producer types was in attendance. Morale was actually at the ton after those shows, many feeling they had done something special. Without spoiling anything, it did seem like they put forth quite a calculated effort. It is believed that Matt Hardy, who was on the shows, was paid close to double his usual fee, which is $1,500 plus expenses. It's no longer believed that Toby Keith is a funder of Global Force Wrestling. Rather, it's an unknown connection to NASCAR's Curry Sadler. TNA is announcing a major announcement for British and Irish fans at the London Film Comic-Con on July 12th. And there was also something of a one-year's reunion at those New York tapings as Jason Kirby, the man who played Wayne Arnold, worked as a producer. And the actors who played Paul Pfeiffer and Winnie Cooper were in attendance as well. That'll be the next big TNA celebrity endorsement. Wonder Years reunion. That'll be the ratings.
And it'll go over just as well as Girl Meets World.
Wait, are there other voices? Are there other people? Is somebody besides Omega and Gunner here?
I know, right? There's Infinity as our wonderful technical producer. There's our guest, Nat Jester, who just seemed to be kind of quiet this particular show. So, how you doing, guys?
Introductions. They're both your friend and mine.
I was completely uninterested until you mentioned Winnie Cooper, and now both my interest and something else have peaked.
Oh boy, I knew you were going to go there sooner or later.
Or as I like to call them, and the rest.
Okay, so I should watch the TNA shows from New York. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much, yeah. It's kind of hard to talk about them without actually spoiling some of the stuff that happened. But, they have loaded up the card. I mean, they brought back a lot of people who, in the New York area, are very prominent, former ECW guys, former X Division guys. They continued the kind of Dixie versus Tommy Dreamer thing there as well. And, again, it's a New York crowd, and one at the ballroom, too, so, or the ballroom, or where,
was that Hammerstein?
I think it was, wasn't it? Well, you know how those crowds are. It a very, more calculated crowd, not quite like the Impact Zone, where they're kind of used to everything. And again, they were putting on. They did make an effort based on the results I read to put out some very nice matches, stuff you might not usually see on Impact, that kind of thing. I mean, same is true about TNA, but when they really try to make a special episode, they usually succeed, more or less.
I feel like I should be going next, and on a very special episode of TNA Impact Wrestling.
Oh, it was actually the Manhattan Center.
So, besides the updates about Toby Keith not being behind GFW, does it still sound to everybody here like that's gaining speed and we won't hit a massive bump in the road that totally derails this?
Yeah, I don't think we'll see much about it until closer to the end of the year when they start to sort of announce things. Maybe announce the first events, confirm people who have signed, things like that. Matt Hardy with his $1,500, or I guess in this case $3,000 plus New York travel and lodging.
Woohoo! Good for Matt Hardy. I'm glad he's doing better.
Well, I hear that Hardy, he's saved his money, despite how eccentric, shall we say, he is. He's saved his money pretty well. He doesn't really need to do these things, but he likes to be around wrestling still, and hey, income is income, especially if you happen to start a family at some point. Alright, basically like that.
So, Chris Jericho's return will be for a few months at least. He's factored into plans until at least Night of Champions. Also, Tokyo Sports has reported that WWE will officially announce the signing of Kenta during the tour of Japan at a July 12th press conference, which Hulk Hogan will be at for some reason. Wade Barrett has separated the shoulder and will be out several months. Cesaro suffered an inadvertent eye poke on Raw, but was cleared to compete on main event. Evan Bourne was backstage at ROH's Best in the World and was and was to come out for a promo, but a promo before the main event, but WWE nixed it. Wow, I'm just botching the shit out of this. He is slated to appear for Evolve soon, though. Also, The Undertaker remains pretty banged up from suffering a concussion, and even at this early stage, his status for WrestleMania next year is iffy.
Wow. Let's get into that first. It's been a few months after WrestleMania 30, and Taker is still feeling the effects of this concussion. That is scary. Do you think this is it? Do you think no more Taker?
K-fame, motherfuckers.
Gesundheit.
This is such bullshit. This is such bullshit. No, he's always banged up. He's always fucking hurting after WrestleMania. This isn't a surprise. This isn't a joke. This isn't even something to even worry about. Oh, The Undertaker's banged up after WrestleMania. Every year ever after 2004.
Pretty much. I would be fine with no Taker match for next year. I need a break.
Well, I'll get it out there. After many people considered to be what happened, the travesty that happened in WrestleMania 30, maybe a break is a good idea.
Let's talk about how they're not going to do anything with Kenta.
Yes, I was going to say, it's great that Kent is being signed, but do you think he'll actually come over to work here in the USA? I mean, WWE's not planning a Japanese version, are they?
Two things isn't being used. He'll be called Koopa instead of Kenta. And then he'll come out with a green shell.
Right. And they'll run him through developmental, have him on NXT for a little while with a stupid gimmick. Then they might call him on to like 2 or 3 episodes of Raw, and then they won't do anything with him again until his contract is up, and they will release him.
And then don't forget the obligatory tag team in Japan with John Cena against the big heels of the time.
Wade Barrett's going to be out for a few months with a separated shoulder. That fucking sucks.
Hopefully a Survivor Series return or sooner.
Well, it says several months, so that means at least like 5.
Yeah.
Well, 2 would be a couple. 3 would be a few.
It's just weird that like there's this huge injury bug going around, but it's a good thing that we got back people that we just did, you know.
Chris Jericho is back, and I marked the fuck out, but we'll talk about that later in the overtime.
Sweet. Okay. Since I didn't do the last one, and I was supposed to, I'll do this one. Extreme Rules did 107,000 buys, with 40,000 being domestic, obviously down from last year with the network in play. WWE pre-shows and post-shows for Raw and SmackDown will be filmed at the WWE studios in Stamford in another cost-cutting measure. Josh Matthews was released as part of ongoing budget cuts in every department, was apparently at the bottom of the list in the announcing department. What? That can't be true. He must be getting out of here. He must have gotten sick of it or something. The long-rumored Archery with Rap album, produced by WWE, will be released later this year, with John Cena rapping on 2 of the tracks. And Ric Flair told a fan that signing he'll be pushed more once he's to be paired with Dolph Ziggler, but the company wouldn't budge. So I guess it couldn't show off enough to be good enough for the Nature Boy.
Really? Because I really thought that, did I read that wrong, that Flair wanted to work with Ziggler?
He did. I think he sees a lot more in Ziggler than he does in Miz, or rather, he sees a lot more of himself in Ziggler than something like that.
Which I think is a good thing, which I think we could be developed. I mean, some of these decisions, like Josh Matthews being in the bottom of the list in the announcing department, the names Byron Saxton and whoever that tall white dude is who is dull as dishwater, whose name I can't even remember for crying out loud, you're going to cut Josh over those 2 missing throats? Are you kidding me?
I don't know. I mean, like I said before, I think maybe because it's been there so long, maybe his salary was kind of high tier, and they thought, well, we can get rid of him, and he's not irreplaceable. And again, and this whole cost-cutting thing is so weird to me too, because you hear these. If you looked at Money in the Bank, the set was literally the Raw set with the 2 big curved drums and everything like that. But then they have the two armored cars on the stage too, with the logo. And I think to myself, did they really buy 2 armored cars, or did they rent them? Because if they have them already, that's one thing. But if you're going to rent 2 armored cars just to sit there, that can't be, that can't be cheap. And plus, Kofi Kingston had pyro.
Yeah, amazing that he actually...
Big push for Kofi.
Exactly. And then cost-cutting measures going to the pre- and post-shows of Raw and SmackDown. Really?
That's nicer. That makes it nicer, I think. It actually gives you a stable set and not jack-offs trying to get themselves over in the background chanting, Booker T, so they can actually, get a Sports Center vibe going on, which is perfectly acceptable,
I'm sorry, but that makes it more fun. Audience participation.
It makes it fun when it's in the wrestling ring, but when you're trying to do a serious show like that, I mean, it just... it bothers me because it's distracting.
Okay, sorry, I love you like a brother, but I'm gonna have to call you on that. Booker T, serious show, pick one.
It just seems like to me they're kind of focusing on the nickels and dimes rather than the dollars, because really, how much does it actually cost them to have that table at the arena and those people at the arena compared to just doing it in Stanford? You know what I mean? And these things like how the Raw set, using that set for Money in the Bank, when I think, okay, so they had 2 armored cars on the stage, but they couldn't. It cost them to rearrange the video walls they already own in a different pattern, and use that giant briefcase, cardboard briefcase logo that they presumably already have sitting in the warehouse 364 days a year. You see what I'm saying? It just gets weird.
I agree, it does really seem weird that they're only focusing on that.
And things like, different colored robes, they already own the robes. Does it cost? I don't know.
Well, it's shipping, and the problem is shipping, and the problem is getting things from one point to another. You have to get the set there. You have to put it up. You have to tear it down. You only need one set of ropes, to get through a wrestling match. 2, if you're feeling adventurous, and one that you think is going to break or something. Those ropes are pretty sturdy, and if you just use one set and you cycle between them, every so if you use 2 sets and you cycle between them, they're going to be both fine for a long time. The problem becomes, it's literally just cutting down on the amount of stuff that moves from one place to another, and that's what costs you money, because it's gas and it's, paying the people to actually show up and whatnot. It would be perfectly acceptable if there was a crew of people who sat at Stanford and did the pre-show from right there. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if that were to happen. That would be more prevalent in other things in the company as well.
I guess maybe they're trying to cut down on their trucks for one thing, because I know whenever you go into the loading area after a Raw, you'll see many trucks. So that could be a big part of it. But, again, it just seems to me like, just like we, they kind of focus on certain things more than certain things. But anyway, we'll wrap up the news here with our tidbits. It seems that Bo Dallas married a former NXT diva this past week, and that was Sarah Beck, the arm wrestling champion. Mick Foley told the Boston Herald that his WrestleMania scenes weren't the greatest this year, that he ended up watching the Tron with everyone else in his section. Plus, he accidentally sent a text to Vince McMahon, a text he meant to send to Brie Bella about Daniel Bryan, telling her to give Daniel a hug, and how wrong he thought the whole situation was with him being out of the Royal Rumble and stuff. And fans who shared a plane with Virgil during WrestleMania weekend say he told them several stories, including one about Andre the Giant stacking 4 women like a sandwich and going to town with his, shall we say, phallic fingers.
And that's not to say chicken or rooster.
What a dick.
I wonder if once they landed, they went and stayed at Howard Johnson.
Okay, so did Mick help Dick Butt? Speaking of which, or did he hurt him in Vince's eyes, do you think?
Maybe one of those. I don't really think Vince pays that much attention to Mick, but I think it was sort of calculated all at once kind of realization that this was the right move to actually kind of focus on him as the big WrestleMania champion. I don't think it was any one person's influence necessarily. I think it was calculated from the sports team doing the chant.
I don't know how we're talking about anything other than Andre the Giant finger banging 4 chicks at the same time.
Well, because you have to remember that the unrelated news report that there was a small boy injured at the Bo Dallas wedding when the arm wrestling woman decided to get into it with the child over the rings. It was unbelievable.
That's it. I'm done.
I wonder if he said I bow instead of I do.
Knowing him, I wouldn't put it past him.
I hope horrible things happen to both of you. Can we just do the time limit?
It must have been a boat of the wedding.
God, strike me dead, please, and save me from these horrible puns. I can't bow on.
I wonder if their first dance was I will always bow you.
See, that wasn't even a good
word phrase right there. Well, let's leave that segment.
Obviously they were dancing to Mr. Bojangles.
See, that made too much sense. Gotta go with the flow. Money in the Bank results. 15-minute time limit, 15 minutes on the clock. We're going to talk about Money in the Bank, which was terrible. Very terrible. Horrible. The worst. Absolutely the worst. In the pre-show... in the pre-show, Daniel Bryan admits feelings his arm isn't great and talks about another surgery. Promises to be back until Bo Dallas comes out. Bryan calls him a boner and tells him to believe.
As in believe. L-E-A-V-E.
What wonderful things you can do with the English language.
I think he was just a bully.
Stop!
It wasn't a pre-show segment. All things considered.
Anyway,
my sides were boasting.
Anyway, the only thing I could remember even vaguely from the pre-show was the absence of oh my God! Don't tell me I forgot his name already.
Josh Matthews and with Renee being bumped up to like the position. I thought that was good. I thought Renee did well.
Yeah, she held her own. I was
She's done it before.
She has? I don't remember that. When?
Once or twice, as far as I remember. I think when they actually first started doing it, and then they got Matthews to kind of be the guy. I'll look it up, but yeah, you know, I mean, the pre-show, honestly, the pre-show, post-show, none of it really matters that much. It kind of depends on, you know, I mean, they had Christian on the panel, which was kind of weird because, you know, he's like here and then he disappears again. You know,
exactly. Alright, so moving on here, the Usos retain the tag titles against the Wyatt family, and quite possibly the second worst booking decision of the evening.
So we don't want any more of the second string of the Wyatt family taking on the Usos anymore. We have seen a lot of that match, and it's getting a little stale.
Why Harper and Rowan don't have the tag titles right now is beyond me.
I don't know. I think they just kind of like having the Usos as sort of a, you know, kind of a set of good guy. Kind of like why Sheamus has the United States title right now. It's just kind of a default good guy team. And I think, honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with they're kind of looking at the Ascension to be called up, and you can't have the Ascension face the Wyatts just chill.
Well, hopefully the Ascension comes up quickly. I like them in NXT. I'm just looking forward to them actually coming up and taking the title. Let's see here. Paige retained the Divas title against Naomi. That was a Divas match. That was a good Divas match. That was the good Divas match of the night.
Pretty good, yeah. The only Divas match. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't.
Well, there was an intergender match, but we'll not talk about that yet.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Paige winning by a pinfall using her old NXT move.
What was it? What's it called? Which DDT is that?
Isn't it a guillotine DDT?
That's the word.
Don't really have much else to say about it, but it was pretty great. I mean, I didn't notice any glaring botches. They kind of had to have a story of Cameron kind of being upset that Naomi was there instead of her.
Naomi had a suicide dive. That was pretty cool.
I mean, like AJ came back and went from Paige. Yeah.
And those two feuding will be great, but no, it was really good. Moving on here, because the other two jack-offs don't have anything to talk about. Adam Rose defeated Paul Revere in his hometown. This hometown rule still stands.
Wake up, children, and you shall hear the screaming sounds of Damien Sandow's career.
I, for one, am pretty stoked about this, because now, maybe, just maybe, William Dawes or Samuel Prescott can finally get the press and adulation that they deserve.
Only you would try to go for a history joke at a time like this.
I don't know. I mean, Sandow doing his comedy gimmick is really cool. I really wish he was actually taken seriously and done something with it. His, general career instead of being, white the truth with his different costumes and whatnot.
Are we 100% positive this is not some sort of punishment gimmick that's been forced upon him?
Well, if it's punishment, he's on TV every week, he's on the pay-per-view. These kind of wrestling gimmicks are always pretty fun to watch, even though they're usually reserved for, kind of bottom carders. I think the last one I kind of remember vividly was Charlie Haas. Maybe other people.
Charlie Haas stealing people's gimmicks and whatnot, yeah, that would be it.
But it is what it is. I don't think this match deserves to be on the show. It's just another one of those last minute fillers to kind of round out the time and make it more of a whole 3-hour show than 2 hours and 30 minutes.
In the Money in the Bank ladder match of the night, Seth Rollins won the Money in the Bank ladder match after Kane interfered, which was stupid.
Let's not pretend this wasn't a 2-man show, which there was some fair efforts on the mid-card, the Divas title, the tag title, even Rusev and Big E and such, but honestly, it really did come down to these 2 ladder matches, and this one, as how it usually goes at Money in the Bank, this was kind of outshone the other one, just because there were more Money in the Bank type participants in it. It wasn't a heavyweight Money in the Bank. Of course, the ending was pretty goofy, as Gunnar said. You got Ambrose going to town on Rollins with a chair, and then Kane comes out, which, by the way, the fire on the turnbuckles was a little unnecessary. I don't know if you caught in the corner of your eye. You see a referee grabbing Zeb Coulter and yanking him as hard as he could out of the way because the fire was about to start.
Don't get grabbed, Zeb. You'll singe your face hairs.
For a second, I thought the referee was going to attack somebody, but anyway, yeah, he goes to town on the people chair. Yeah, and Kane destroys Ambrose, and before anybody else gets up, despite having just been run from the chair, Rollins rolls back in and takes things away. So yeah, that was pretty.
It was a stupid ending. It was terribly executed. The people involved, Rollins, not saying Rollins was the perpetrator of this, but the agent involved in booking the end of this match was definitely TNA-rific. It wasn't very good. It was very choppy. There should have been a little more time between Kane coming out and Rollins actually winning. Or a little less time, because it was right in the middle there where it was too long for Kane to actually be out and still be a surprise to everyone, but it was too short to have Kane actually be, effective enough to be able to get everybody away from the ring. I expected some sort of potential interference, and then the two of them would have to run away with the title, which I would with the briefcase, which I would have preferred, but. Yeah, I mean, as soon as Kane came out, you all know what was going to happen. I mean, there was a lot of hope in that match as opposed to the other one about who was actually going to win.
They got stuff doing good where the finish is telegraphed so obviously. Like, if Kane had rolled out from underneath the ring and all of a sudden, oh my god, it's Kane, where'd he come from? Then, then that would make me more.
Or like if if Rollins had been killed, right? And then Kane clears the ring, and then he plays defense while he pushes Rollins up the ladder on his shoulders or something like that, and then Rollins just tiredly and exhaustively unscrews the briefcase. That would have been interesting. And wait a minute, if there's always a plan B. But I'm going to get into the other match here in a second. But there's always a plan B. Why was it plan B have Randy Orton destroy John Cena at the end of the pay-per-view and Rollins cash in? I'm just saying.
Well, because the Orton wants to be changed.
They're giving out exact change, and this doesn't make sense. Goldust and Stardust defeated Ryback.
Standard. Decent effort to standard.
Whoop-de-doo! What's it all mean, Basil?
Well, besides seeing that great, hearing that great 70s music of Stardust, nothing really.
And Rusev's the Big E again, although Big E fought back a little bit more this time.
And I want to tell you, those intros of his, where he's talking like a preacher, or better yet, the hardest working man in show business, Mr. James Brown, are really growing on me.
Layla beat Summer Rae, which kind of surprised me.
It was okay. I mean, they tried. They really did try. And Lana's a bitch. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what's going on here. Lana's a bitch, and it's pretty fucking awesome that she's that much fun. So, and then the worst match of the evening, and the worst, quite possibly the worst thing that happened. Layla defeated Summer Rae, which was an intergender match because I've decided that Summer Rae is too ugly to be a woman, so she is now a man.
Are we going the freaking, what's her name route again?
Yep. I've decided that Summer Rae does not. No. Please, you are not a person.
What was her name?
Eva Marie.
Eva Marie, yes.
No, Eve Torres.
Eve Torres, that's what I thought.
Although Eva's one too.
Yes. I mean, this is bad. Layla completely outclasses Summer Rae in every capacity. Even as a person, she's just way more classy, and she carries herself as such. And you can tell. I mean, that's the worst part about it. And all right,
let's move on. 3 minutes.
Okay. John Cena won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the ladder match. Cena wins.
This was another big finish because it was like everybody was doing finishers and stuff, and then Cena popped in and Gage, I think, an attitude adjustment before I knew it, he was up the ladder, and he had won. And they kept cutting to the authority, just shaking their heads in disbelief that Cena was winning.
17-time world champion by the end of the year?
I don't think so.
Good Lord, I hope not. But there were some good spots in here. I enjoyed some of this match, but we all pretty much knew it was going to Cena, even though it was making us tear our hair out. But that finish could have been so much better. Had so much more interest in that finish.
Money in the Bank matches are always enjoyable to watch. Even if something like this happens, and Cena wins, and it's like, well, this again. But it seems like the finish is really very important to a Money in the Bank match, I decided, because when you have stuff like this, it's like, well, all those cool spots and everything that they came up with, like when the ladder was sort of geometrically placed, Cesaro was hanging off of it, and it was, hanging off of its one. It was standing on its one side. Stuff like that gets pretty easily forgotten in favor of, just kind of a lame duck finish and somebody just waltzes up there and grabs it, When was the last time we had, like, 5 guys fighting over it, and then one finally just got there, you know what I mean?
Not in a while. However, I want to professionally thank from the bottom of my heart whoever made those WWE belts so damn sturdy, because both Sheamus and Cesaro were hanging off of those things, and you'd think the class would have gave way.
Yeah, that whole double belt setup with the ring and the rung and the hook, they perfected to make sure it doesn't get loose.
It's pretty amazing, to be honest, how much Cena, how much the booking around Cena is just so formulaic. I mean, he plays the role, he does what he's paid to do. Everyone hates him for it, but at the end of the day, it's everyone's excuse to be lazy. That's what I would say if I would have agreed with that. Now, normally said, until I read this tweet about, Matt Morgan tweeted out. Somebody tweeted to Matt Morgan, well, who else are we going to feed to Lesnar? And that's it, right there. That's why he won the WWE Championship tonight. It's not because some new guy was supposed to get it. It was because Brock Lesnar is going to win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam this year. I guarantee it on this show.
Well, they had to do something, given the circumstances. This is what they did. So, I can't say that. I blame them entirely.
Yep, posters never lie, and the poster for SummerSlam's out already, so.
It wasn't even that. It was the fact that, logically speaking, who else would you feed to Lesnar?
Oh, well, everybody's hating on Roman Reigns these days, so why not?
I don't know why. He's fantastic.
Well, a couple of
Okay, so sorry, dude, that's it for the 15-minute time limit. Yank, take us out to break.
Well, all right. We're going to break. We'll be right back after these messages. Gunner, do we have messages?
Sure.
Let's pause 10 seconds for safeties to identify themselves. They need to see his identification.
WOOO Radio, live worldwide on WooRadio.org.